Okay, we're ready.
Okay, perfect. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. Nice to see you all. So I'm going to start by opening the meeting. Can I get a mover and a seconder? John and David Halverson. Okay, so it's to call the February 5th, 2026 public meeting of the Lakehead Rural Planning Board be open, the time being 5:30. All in favor? Perfect, thank you. So the first order of business is to elect the chair. So I will call for nominations.
I'll nominate Bernie.
I second it.
Third it.
A quick railroad job, eh?
Any other nominations or anyone interested in being chair? No? Okay. So sorry, we got a mover and a seconder from John and David. Okay, all in favor? Bernie, are you okay with it?
Does that matter?
No.
Not at this point.
Okay,
Yes,
I'll
I'm okay
I'll
with
turn it
that.
over to you then.
Thank you for putting your trust in me once again. The next order of business on our agenda is election of the vice chair. Is there any nominations for vice chair?
How about Axel?
I'll second Axel.
No, I decline. Thanks.
Who is the current vice chair?
Gordon.
I was gonna nominate Gordon.
I'll second that then.
Any other nominations? Gordon, would you accept?
Sure, it'll put me into a tax bracket, but I'll accept.
Okay. Okay, it's been moved. Can I get a mover and a seconder for that nomination? We'll get John and David. It's been moved and seconded that Gordon be appointed vice chair of Lake Rural Planning Board for 2026. All those in favor? Thank you, Mr. Cuthberts, and you are now the vice chair.
Thank you.
And I gotta go, so.
Cows are calling.
Okay, so we have a motion for signing authority, and I guess we can move and second it and vote on it, but there won't be any change because there's been no change to the executive. So can I get a mover and a second for signing authorities? Axel and Elizabeth, it's been moved and second that any documentation required by our financial institutions will be duly authorized and executed when signed by any two of the following persons: chair, vice chair, secretary, treasurer. All those in favor? Okay, that one is done. Do we have, next up is the agenda for the public meeting. Am I going to move and a seconder for the agenda, please? Gordon and David, it's been moved and seconded that the February 5th, 2026 public meeting agenda of the Lakehead Rural Planning Board be approved. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Okay, we have an agenda. Is there any disclosures of pecuniary interest?
I have none.
Okay, thank you. We can move into the applications, of which we have two. And I will let you take them away, Carrie.
Thank you. So the first application was received from Lori Pajamaki, who's acting as agent on behalf of both him and Riley Freeman for the property known locally as 178 to 190 Ilka Drive in the township of Conmee. The application is proposing the creation of one new lot being 2.7 hectares in size, leaving a retained lot of approximately 2.67 hectares. The application per the Planning Act was circulated to neighboring properties within 60 meters, was posted on the property, and the agencies were emailed as per the requirements with 14 days notice. The subject property fronts on Ilka Road, and Pajamaki Road in Conmee Township, is designated as rural in the official plan and the zoning bylaw. The properties are abutted, or the property is abutted by additional rural lots in all directions. The proposed new lot will front on Pajamaki Road, while the retained lot will front on Ilka Drive. Both the proposed new lot and the retained lot have existing dwellings with well, septic, and entrances. The proposed retained lot does not does not meet the minimum frontage requirements that are currently required through the Conmy zoning bylaw. So a condition of this approval is that a minor variance be applied for and approved within the 2-year period. However, council in Conmy is currently working on a new zoning bylaw, which does reduce that frontage requirement. So the applicant is aware that it's sort of one or the other, whichever comes first. So he does not have to apply for the minor variance should the zoning bylaw be approved before. Otherwise, if he's looking to do this more speedily, then he will have to do the minor variance. We received agency comments from the Lakehead Region Conservation Authority, Mines, and the MTO. No issues were identified with any of those agencies. We did not receive any comments from the public, and we did receive an email February 2nd notifying us that council did review the application. They had asked for clarification regarding the 2 dwellings, whether they would be on one lot or if there would be a dwelling on each of them, which I clarified, and I have not received any other comments. So it would be my recommendation that the application be approved with our usual conditions, and then that minor variance one that's sort of conditional on the zoning bylaw as well.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the board to the secretary?
No, I can honestly say we took a good look at this, and another counselor and I went for a drive because I guess this individual, I don't know people out here that well, but I guess this guy kind of builds homes and then asks later for forgiveness and severances all the time. And that was just the only thing I wanted to make sure that everything we had building permits and stuff and it came back and everything was kosher. So I'm okay with everything, but yeah.
Okay. Thank you. We don't have anyone other than this board attending, so I guess we won't have any comments from anyone else or any questions. I guess we can move on to the second one.
Okay, thank you. The second application was received from Martin and Corrine Templeman for the property known as 200 Holomega Road in O'Connor Township. We've seen this application, not this particular one, but this property has been before the board before a few years ago where they did their first severance. This would be their second. This one is proposing the creation of a new lot being 2.03 hectares in size, leaving a retained of the same size behind. The application, again, was circulated to neighboring properties within the 60 meters, posted on the property, and agencies were emailed 14 days prior to this evening. So again, the subject property is fronting on Holomega Road in O'Connor Township, and it's designated as rural in both the official plan and zoned rural in the zoning bylaw. The properties are abutted by additional rural lots in all directions. The proposed new lot will have frontage along Holomega Road as well. Both the new lot and retained meet all entrance requirements and size requirements per the zoning bylaw, and an entrance will be required through O'Connor Township if one does not already exist. This is the final severance for this piece of property as well. So we received agency comments from the Lakehead Region Conservation Authority and the Ministry of Mines with no issues identified. We did receive a letter from a Diane Harrison, who is a resident of the area opposing the severance. Her letter refers to what she believed was one severance allotment for the property, and she noted that the property's been severed. She thinks that this is the third one, but all prior severances, other than the one that we did in 2022, were done prior to the 1997 date. So it's no issue, and I explained that to her. I did not receive any further feedback from her. And then we received a letter dated January 30th from O'Connor Township stating that the O'Connor Council has no issues with the application, and they passed a resolution approving the new severance. So again, my recommendation would be that this application be approved with our usual conditions.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? No? Okay, since we also have no public, then we won't get any public comments from anyone else. That brings us to our last item for the agenda for the public meeting. I'm going to move in a seconder to adjourn the public meeting, please. David and Axel, it's been moved and seconded that the February 5th, 2026 public meeting of the Lakehead Rural Planning Board be adjourned, the time being 5:40 p.m. All those in favor? Thank you. Now we can move on to our regular meeting. I'd like to call the regular meeting to order. Am I going to move in a seconder to do that, please? John and Elizabeth, it's been moved and seconded that the February 5th, 2026 regular meeting of the Lakehead Rural Planning Board be opened, the time being 5:41 p.m. All those in favor? Thank you. It is moved and passed. Can I get a mover and seconder for the agenda, please? Elizabeth and David, it's been moved and seconded that the February 5th, 2026 regular meeting agenda of the Lakehead Rural Planning Board be approved. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you, that is approved. Do we have any disclosures of pecuniary interest?
I have none.
Seeing none. We have no deputation scheduled. We have several bylaws and resolutions. The first one is the Piamaki bylaw. I guess there's nothing to add, is there?
I have nothing to add.
And is there any questions? Seeing none, I will read it out. Resolution 009, 2026. Can I get a mover and a seconder, actually? Gordon and David. It's been moved and seconded that the application 1B/01/26 from Lawrence Pajamaki, acting as agent on behalf of himself and Riley Freeman for the property described as Conmee, Concession 6, part of South Half Lot A, Conmee Township, Geographic District, Thunder Bay, known locally as 178 to 190 Ilka Drive, as set forth in the application, be approved with conditions. Any more questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That one is approved. And the second resolution, I'm guessing you have nothing to add, do you, Carrie?
Nothing, no.
Okay. Can I get a mover and a seconder for it, please? John and Axel. It's been moved and seconded that from Martin and Crean Templeman for the property described as O'Connor Concession 5, part of North Lot 4, RP 55R 14713, parts 2 and 3, O'Connor Township, Geographic District of Thunder Bay, known locally as 200 Holomago Road, as set forth in the application, be approved with conditions. Any other questions or comment? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you, that one is approved. Now, tariff of fees for bylaw review. Go ahead, Carrie.
Okay, so this is just administrative. We bring these forward every first meeting of the year. It's just to look at the fees, make sure that they're still appropriate, or if anyone wants to recommend any changes. I do not have any changes that I would recommend right now. We are still in line fully with Oliver Papoonge, which is typically what we have based our fees on. But if anyone has anything that they would like to discuss, that's what this is for.
If I
Go
could.
ahead.
How long have our fees remained at this level? Because I just see that like we're in the hole a little bit, and it would be, I just hate debt. So if we had to raise our fees a little bit to help out with that, I would be okay with that.
I believe I'm not sure when the last time we updated them is, if we have, as long as I've been here. We did have that increase with collecting of the LRCA fees for a lot of things, which I think deterred us from changing them previously. So yeah, we haven't changed them. These are the same fees that Oliver Papoonge charges as well.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you for the question. I have a resolution to pass the tariff of fees bylaw. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Gordon and Elizabeth, it's been moved and seconded that the Lakehead Rural Planning Board approves the tariff of fees bylaw as presented. All those in favor? Thank you. We now have the tariff of fees bylaw. Guess we had one before. It's not any different.
Nope.
So next thing up is the procedural bylaw.
Okay, so same thing, administrative task that we just sort of have to review this annually. Again, I don't see really anything that would require a change, but if the board has other opinions, then love to hear them right now.
I actually read through them today.
It was a little dry.
It was a little dry. As luck would have it, I've read, this is the fourth set of either constitution or bylaws I've read through in the past couple of weeks for different things. So
Mm,
it's been exciting.
riveting.
I was gonna say you're suffering insomnia. You must be preparing to run for mayor.
The hobby. No, I'm not preparing anything. Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder for the review of the procedural bylaw, please? David, West, and John. It's been moved and seconded that the Lakehead Road Planning Board approves the procedural bylaw as presented. Any other question or comment? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you, that is approved. Next up, we have the minutes of the November 6th, 2025 meeting. We had a public meeting and a regular meeting, so I'm going to move in a seconder for the public meeting minutes. Elizabeth and Axel, it's been moved and seconded. The Lakehead Road Planning Board approves the minutes of the November 6th, 2025 public meeting as presented. Any questions or comments or any errors or omissions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the public meeting minutes? Thank you, that is approved. Can I get a mover and a seconder for the regular meeting minutes? David and John. It's been moved and seconded that the Lakehead Road Planning Board approves the regular meeting minutes of the November 6, 2025 regular meeting as presented. Questions or comments, errors or omissions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you, that is approved. Any matters arising from the minutes, Carrie?
The only thing that I will mention is that we did finally receive our provincial funding on Monday. So that is in our account now. I also met with Jamie Kirchuk from the ministry locally here, and we discussed the board and how it's operating and the financial issues that we've been having. So government answers, but they did mention that they're looking at doing a review of planning boards, which would be ideal because I think we need it. And so we brought all that up for them. We had an hour with him, and then he said that he would meet with me again in the end of March, beginning of April.
That's encouraging, I guess.
Yeah.
Our council had a delegation at Roma with Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, brought up this issue also, and they were shocked that we hadn't been paid yet.
Mm. Well, I brought up
check in the mail or something. So
yeah. I mean, there's no mail, it's a direct deposit, but that's fine. I did bring up as well the fact that the spreadsheet that I have to fill out is really clunky. They're asking for percentages of phone calls that I receive based on unincorporated versus the incorporated townships that we deal with. And I said it takes days, if not like a week or two, to complete that form. And really, if you're going to have only one staff person running a board as well as being the planner for a municipality, we don't have that kind of time. So it's very clunky, and it's very new. We did not have to do that before. That's in the last 3 years. So they said that, he was going to take all the notes back. So I just tried to bring up everything that's been causing issues. So
is it that tracking? Is they're trying to get a sense of how much work goes into these planning boards or something? Or
I don't think it's that. The funding is only for the unincorporated.
Okay,
So they want to make sure that the work that I'm doing with respect to unincorporated versus not is
Yeah.
worth the money.
fair enough.
So, but I said, I was very clear that the tracker only allows me to tell you what I do. It doesn't tell, like, it's not something where I get to record all the things that we're not able to do because we don't have the funding, which
Mhm.
is a bit of a shortfall that I wanted to mention too.
Okay. Any,
Probably doing $50,000 a year worth of work for the unincorporated, right?
Well, so every year the board pays Oliver Papoonge $30,000 for myself and for Krista.
Hmm.
And then we're not left with a lot of money, and they only give us 40,000.
Mhm.
So yeah, and it's as far as I know has never increased. It's been 20 years at least. So
Hmm.
we'll see if anything comes of it.
that's a bigger issue that it's never changed ever.
Yes,
Mhm.
Okay, do we have any reports?
no reports.
Do we have any correspondence?
No, we do not.
We do have new business. We have a 2026 budget, which everyone has had time to review.
Mhm.
Do you want to give us some highlights from it, Carrie, or
Um,
synopsis budget?
The budget's getting a little trickier, without knowing when we're going to have an official plan and zoning bylaw in effect. It's really hard to kind of guess whether or not we're going to get a lot of applications. Another thing that I did bring up actually during that meeting with the ministry is that allowing the 90 lots and putting the cap there is a little scary, because we made that so known, and then through all of the social media and in the township, um, it's become so known. The Planning Act doesn't speak to anything that says, that there's a max amount of applications that you can receive in a month, and you have 30 days to review them and get them before the board. So I mentioned that that was going to maybe be a problem too, again, with the funding, because if we're going to be constantly going to OLT, I said, we would have been better off with zero or no cap, like, and just not made it a thing. But because it's become such a big deal, I have people calling at least once a week asking how they can make sure that they're first in line. And I'm not sure what's going to happen when we do have that going on. So, anyways, that being said, I put 15,000. I was hoping, that's based on the last few years that we've done where we're still getting in and around that value. We'll see what happens there. That 250 municipal levy, I don't know if we want to look at that going higher. But it's been 250 for a long time. I know the last time that I had brought it up, there was no flavor around the table to increase that. And then, yeah, so typical insurance, auditor, the honorarium fees, the mapping, none of that stuff, fortunately, has really increased too much. So everything is relatively the same. And then I made sure, obviously, that our revenue and our expenditures are balancing. Whether that will come to fruition or not, I don't know. But at least we have the provincial funding in our account now. We do not have the final bill from our October, November meetings with the consultant either. They were withholding that because, or not withholding it, they were doing it nicely because they knew that we hadn't received the funding and we couldn't necessarily pay for all of that. So once I get that bill and get sort of an idea where we're at, I'll bring back to the board how much money we should be putting back into our reserves or whether that's not something that we should be doing. But everything in the budget right now is based on the information that I have right now.
Thank you. Questions or comments? David?
Are we able to, if we're concerned about getting too many applications in a month, are we able to set a cap on monthly applications so that we're not swamped in any given month?
I kind of talked to him about that, but I mean, there's not really a way to do that if 10 people come in all at the same time. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but if it did, you can't really turn them away. you can say, I have too many applications, and hopefully people are being reasonable and we can do five, and then we can do five the following month and go on that way. I suspect also that it will taper off. I think it'll just be like the urgency at the beginning and then it'll slow down, hopefully. Um, but I don't know how to do the cap. The Planning Act doesn't speak to anything like that. So aside from the board passing its own policy, and I'm not sure that that would stand up in at an OLT hearing, but it's something that we can try. I mean, we'll also in the office just say like, you're our seventh application this month. I'm not sure we're gonna get to you. We'll let you know, kind of thing. I'm not sure. We could be having longer meetings though.
Any other questions or comments? Elizabeth?
So, looking at that $250 figure, I'm thinking that it is time that we look at upping that, especially because we're not receiving a lot of income from, potentially not receiving a lot of income from other sources, even though you have that optimistic $15,000 figure. I want to say it's just a pittance, even though it is a doubling, like maybe upping it to $500 per year per municipality. It's not like a huge increase, but it could be part of like a graduated step plan for year after year until we're at something maybe a little bit more sustainable. $500 a year for planning services is still almost criminally cheap, but it feels a little more representative than 250.
Thank you. Gordon and then David.
Yeah, I think that Ewing would be opposing that because we do our own consents. And the only thing we need the Lakehead Planning Board is if we did a plan of subdivision, and I'll be 120 when we put our first plan of subdivision forward.
I don't know
And
about that.
no,
I've been reviewing one.
for Niebing?
Yeah.
Why didn't they tell us?
I'm not sure if they're there yet, but I've heard and
It's
seen some things.
chance in hell of it happening. But
Um,
anyways, and
yeah, Gordon, do you
MMAH
think
is
that
opposed to it. MMAH has been told us out that they're opposed to any plans of subdivisions in Niebing. So it'll be fun to get by that line. But anyways, we're having a battle with DSAB right now where our fee in DSAB is like just under $500,000.
Mhm.
And so we got bigger fish to fry than this 250 that we pay here. And I don't need any more fights with council at the moment. Let us finish our D. If we get our DSAB bill down, I can pay anything you want.
Mhm.
Okay, David? Oh,
is Niebing ever going to approach the ministry for their own approval of subdivisions? With their own official plan, you're entitled to that.
No, because there's been no urgency in Niebing to form an official plan. We just finished in our official plan getting rid of the 3-split rule, and we're allowed 200 severances over the next. And our policy is that that being an open and maintained road, and the maximum you can have on a request is 5 to avoid it as a plan of subdivision. And we're having no objections to that. The fact that people can get 3, 4, which is the common ones, and they're not clustered, which would bring in the plan of subdivision stuff. Niebing is not interested in a plan of subdivision, so we don't have a settlement area to build on, and we don't want to create one. That's the current. You dear knows what's going to happen in November when there might be a new council in, but it'll be interesting. Be interesting at the time, but the current council is not thrilled with any plans of subdivision. So the applicant's going to have an uphill battle.
David?
I was just going to also suggest that there should be some type of fee increase to the municipalities. Just in all honesty, just because office stuff is going up and expenses continually go up everywhere. I'm not a big proponent to increases because I don't like my taxes going up. But and now that I'm part of it and I joined council in order to find out where the money was going, I can see that we are desperately, kind of underfunded. Our fees are low. And I know, and I sort of agree that if doubling them would be a bit of a shock. So as much as that's $500 is still really cheap. Um, a lot of building applications, like for a permit to build a house, is over $500 in most instances. An increase in our fees, I think we really should, whether it's a couple of hundred, we double it or something, but I really do think that we should see an increase in our fees. So,
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I would think for our Connor, I know what our population would say because we're so small
mhm.
to be in
Yeah.
opposition, but there are a lot of our folks are really strapped when it's coming to the tax issue right now. We're
Mhm.
hearing from them.
Okay, Elizabeth, you have another comment?
The doubling was just a number that I threw out because 250, I mean, Gillies, I'm certain you all remember 2023, but Gillies is also a bit cash strapped and has been historically, but we $500 is cheaper than some advertisements that Gillies has taken out historically in like the Heimers Fair magazine, Fall Fair.
Mhm.
So whether it's $300, just a $50 increase, or $400, $150 increase, it truly doesn't
Mhm.
matter to me. It's just I think we should get the ball rolling on doing gradual increases at least, because cost of electricity is going up, cost of paper is going up. Not that the LRPB has its own purchasing, but it needs to be recognized.
Okay, I guess, well, we are discussing the budget, so I guess, go ahead, Gordon.
Well, the other way to recover fees is to increase the fee for cost of a severance. Therefore, the municipalities that want a severance, their applicants pay more, and municipalities that don't have any need for severances, then they don't have to pay anything more. So that would be the way to increase revenue, and only do it on a user basis instead of just a carte blanche, charge everybody.
Mhm.
David,
I like that idea. I'm not opposed to that idea either. It's and not just the fees. It's more or less, I just like you say, some type of helpful sustainment, um, to make sure like we're covered. Like a user fee is, not a bad idea. Increasing a user fee.
okay, Carrie, could you remind us the last time the user fees were reviewed?
Are these the application fees? What are user
Yeah.
fees? Sorry.
Or, yeah, the
Mhm.
application fees.
Okay.
Wasn't it?
I believe that they were 500 until a few years ago when we upped it to 800.
Okay.
Okay, so the way the budget's written, we do have a motion to approve the budget as presented. If we'd like to amend that motion, I would need someone to
Mhm.
move and second an amendment to this motion.
I can also review fees from all the townships as far as like around surrounding areas, see what their fees are for applications and get a sense of whether we are really low or average, and bring a report back if that would help.
Okay. All right.
Elizabeth, you have your hand up?
I think that getting that information probably would be the most helpful, because it could also be that municipalities themselves need to have a larger discussion on, maybe it's been a while since they've looked specifically at the user fees for severances, consent applications, and so on that the municipality charges versus going to the LRPB. I think that's all I had to say. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. John?
I think the same thing, that to get a comparison, see what others are paying, and based on the population as well, whether affordable. But
Okay. Would you be able to do that before the next meeting, Carrie? Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes, I
Well
can.
then, we can still pass this bylaw with for the budgets with, I mean, if we're looking at the actual application fees, that's separate from this. So, and it's good to periodically review that anyways. So can I get a mover and a seconder to pass the budget? Gordon and Elizabeth. It's been moved and seconded. The Lakehead Rural Planning Board approves the budget for 2026 as presented. Any more question or comment? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you. The budget is approved. Transfer payment agreement.
So this is just for information. Myself and Bernie did sign this document and sent it back. This is what we look at when we're getting the $40,000. So unfortunately, this is for the 2025 payment, and it was signed by everyone 2026. So we'll see what happens this year with the funding. But this is just so you see the document. I did not include all the expectations of how we have to record, how we spend it and everything. So, but this is the agreement. Because we sign in advance of having a meeting without having a meeting since November. This was to get the funding quicker, but
I do have a resolution.
yes, that we do need the resolution on file. We just couldn't do the resolution prior to us signing.
Gotcha. Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder for the transfer payment agreement? David and Axel. It's been moved and seconded. The Lakehead Rural Planning Board approves the transfer payment agreement for 2025 as presented. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That is approved. And last thing on our new business part of the agenda, commercial insurance renewal application.
So I did throw this into the Google Drive just this week because they finally were able to send me copies of it. They've just been sending me DocuSign information that I wasn't signing. So I kept getting yelled at via email that I wasn't signing. And I said, I don't get to make these decisions. So this is just to make sure that everyone's fine with our insurance. There's no changes. As far as I know, there's no fee increase, although they didn't send me an invoice to confirm that. So aside from doing like a full, what is the word, please?
Review.
Well, RFP.
Thank you. Yes.
RFP.
Aside from doing an RFP to see if about getting new insurance, which we're probably a little late in the game for, then I would approve this now and we can certainly look at it.
Okay, Gordon?
A quick question. What does our insurance cover?
Well, it's all in. Just 1 second. I can pull it up. I can send you the whole package as well. I just they haven't sent me that yet.
Are we a big risk group? Like we're at home when we meet. What do we need insurance for?
Well, court.
Liability.
Oh,
I think we have, I want to say 5 million. It might be 10.
holy mollies.
Public meetings.
Covers errors and omissions too, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Fortunately necessary evil in today's world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have a motion written to execute the commercial insurance renewal application via DocuSign. Can I get a mover and a seconder for that, please? Elizabeth and John. It's been moved and seconded that the Lakehead Rural Planning Board authorizes the Secretary Treasurer to execute the commercial insurance renewal application via DocuSign. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you, that is approved. And does anyone have anything else for this meeting? Gordon?
Yeah, since this is an election year, does this board end in October or December?
This board is annual.
So it ends in December.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I guess, yeah, because typically the appointments from councils would be made in December. We meet in the beginning of December. I guess there could be some overlap there.
Hmm.
The reason I ask, I'm on the DSAT board and their elections are in January because you fill out the entire year. Even if you're off council in October, you're still on the board for November and December.
Hmm.
And that's the way their rules were. And we just had an election now, which is in this, it's not January, but it's the first meeting. So does that carry us right through to December? And it really didn't matter what happened. We'll be here right through to the end of the year. And then the new people start January.
Yeah, I guess the same here then, I would assume. And of course, it's only relevant for those of us that are elected municipal representatives, because we do have several people that are appointed. So
Mhm.
I believe that's how it was been done in the past.
Okay, thank you.
There's no, unlike councils, there's no lame duck provisions or anything like that.
So I can't throw my computer away until January.
Correct. Correct. Okay. If there's nothing else for this meeting, I have a motion to adjourn. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Elizabeth and David West. It's been moved and seconded that the February 5th, 2026 regular meeting of the Lakehead Road Planning Board be adjourned, the time being 6:11 p.m. All those in favor? Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Still light out-ish, so,
Be
Yeah.
Good
safe.
night, all.
all right.
Good night.
Sure.
Next year,
Good
next
night.
month.
Next month.
Wait, not next year.
I will have everything ready for you. You keep moving on my screen. I will have everything ready for you for Tuesday.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. We will see you then, I guess.
Yep. Take care, everybody.